Welcome back for I Survived the Destruction of Pompeii, Chapter 12. The sun was high in the sky as they approached the city. They tied Peg to a tree in an olive grove about a half a mile from Pompeii's eastern gates. Marcus hugged Peg. "I'll be back." The mayor nosed him in the chest, looking him in the eye. The ground rumbled again. The tremors were definitely getting stronger. Marcus looked back nervously at the mountain and loosened Peg's rope. "If we're not back, you need to break free from here and get out on your own." Peg eyed him. "Do you understand me?" he said. "Don't wait for us." The mayor snorted. Marcus hoped that meant yes. He hugged her one last time, and Tata rubbed her nose before they headed to the city gates. Tata's plan was to speak to Pompeii's magistrates, the men elected to lead the city. They would know the best way to warn the people of Pompeii. Marcus and Tata wove through the crowded streets, keeping their eyes out for men who might help and those who might be hunting for them. It didn't take long to reach the Forum, an open square surrounded by 5 buildings and the city's main temple dedicated to Jupiter. Statues of emperors and generals seemed to glare at Marcus as he followed Tata to the magistrate's building. Marcus's heart pounded as they approached the entrance, where 3 steely-looking guards stood watch. "Stop, slave," a guard ordered. Tata held his head up. "Sir, I have an urgent message for the city's leader. The city is in danger. We must warn the people of Pompeii." The man barely glanced at Tata from beneath his helmet. "Be gone," the guard ordered, shooing him as though he was a stray dog. "Sir," Tata said, "it's the mountain. There soon will be a terrible explosion. The guard raised his spear menacingly. "Go from here. Nobody in there wants to talk to a filthy slave." Suddenly, Marcus couldn't help but to see what the guard saw when he looked at Tata. With his tattered tunic and his body stained with bruises, Tata looked little better than the beggar woman. The other guards stepped up, their spears glinting in the sun. This was hopeless, Marcus realized. "You're making a terrible mistake," Tata warned, taking Marcus's arm and hurrying him away. They walked out of the Forum and headed toward the main street. "We'll have to tell the people ourselves," Tata said. "We'll go to the shops and restaurants. Hopefully, people will listen." Marcus hoped Tata couldn't read his thoughts. They were wasting their time. Nobody would take the word of a slave. They stood on the sidewalk waiting to cross the crowded street. 2 laughing little boys ran behind their mother. One held a wooden sword. "I'm Cyclops," the boy sang. The gladiator match. That's where everybody was heading. Marcus watched the boys, but then his eyes drifted up to Vesuvius. What he saw stopped his heart. A wisp of smoke rising out of the peak. The mountain seemed to be coming alive. "Tata," Marcus pointed up at the smoking mountain. Tata stared in horror and fascination. They both stood there, their eyes glued to the mountain, which is why they didn't see the golden chariot that had stopped suddenly right in front of them, or the pair of cold, pale eyes that glared at them. By the time Marcus saw Festus and his guards rushing toward them, it was too late. Penned in by the crowds, he and Tata were trapped. And seconds later, Marcus was staring at the glinting tip of a spear. "Idiots," Festus hissed. "You actually believed you could escape?" Tata shook his arm from the guard's grip and stepped towards Festus. "Please, sir, a disaster is coming. The mountain is about to explode. People must leave the city right away." Festus laughed cruelly. "You think you can save yourselves by telling tales?" The guard grabbed Tata roughly, and once again Tata shook himself free. He seemed to be gaining strength from the crowd, from fear and panic in the eyes of all the people around them. "You felt the earth tremors, and now look at the mountain. You can see for yourself. The smoke. At any minute, it's going to explode." Festus didn't even look at the mountain. He put his face close to Tata, screaming, "You dare try to outsmart me? You think I'm a fool?" "Think of your uncle, sir, of Linus," Tata said, struggling as the guard gripped him again. "He would agree with me, I'm certain." Festivus' fat cheeks turned bright red. My uncle was a weak-minded idiot, Festivus said, spitting out the words. He cared more for a slave than me, a man who shared his own blood. And suddenly, it was all clear to Marcus why Festivus had sold Tata so quickly. Few people in Rome were as admired as Linus Silenus, and yet he had never been impressed by Festivus' chariots and villas and fine stallions. Linus knew the truth about his nephew, that he made his money by cheating people. Tata had the one thing that Festivus' fortune couldn't buy, his uncle's respect. And Festus hated Tata for it, hated him so much that he would make Tata suffer the worst fate imaginable, death in the arena. Take this slave to the last Lanista, Festivus ordered. He will be just in time for his match against Cyclops. As the guards dragged his father away, Marcus's blood boiled in his veins. His heart smoldered with hatred. He stepped close to Festivus, looking him squarely in his fish-like eyes. You are evil. Marcus, Tata gasped. Marcus couldn't miss the flicker of shock on Festivus' face. But of course, Festivus had the last word. Take the boy to Lanista too. Tell him it's a gift from me. It will be quite a show today for the people of Pompeii. As the guards took a hold of Marcus, something exploded deep inside of him. He opened his mouth to scream, to curse Festivus and this dark and evil world. But it was not Marcus's voice that filled the air. It was the voice of Vesuvius. 2 shattering explosions. Boom! Boom!